Hey, what's up? My name is Lauren Hazel, head of marketing at Black Nerd Swag, baby. Yeah, how you guys doing? Um, some of y'all going like absolutely out of control, crazy, crazy, because you're not able to do the things you're normally able to do, and every time you turn on the news, it's more numbers on death rates and infection rates and that sort of stuff, and your governors or your mayors, and the president. I'm talking about the United States folks anyway. um you know Telling you different things, health officials telling you different things, and most of it is negative. Very few positive pieces of light out there, and some of you just going stir crazy, and some of you just really sad and grief stricken and disappointed, because all the geeks and nerds out there, you expected to have a con. Some of your cons got canceled. Um, Cons canceled or postponed. Now they're supposedly back to back. States being put in lockdown all over the place, just being put in lockdown. I'm in New York, so we've been on lockdown for longer than I think we were the first. We might have been the first state to be on any type of lockdown. So our convention centers are going to be used as hospitals. So um, cons that were planned, um, staff at hotels that smaller conventions took place. Don't look like it's going to happen because those places have fired everybody. Essentially, pretty much, and their spaces are being used as makeshift command centers and hospitals, apparently. So, um, it doesn't particularly look good if you just watch the news all day and listen to the reports. You know, it doesn't look good. Um, if you pay attention to the comic book space, you got places like Diamond, who basically distributes to everybody. They are pretty much the only place where your publishers get their, print their books. And a lot of indies um, who've made it to a certain point will try to get their stuff printed out. And now they have they're shutting down April 1st. So that's in a couple of days from, depending when you see this recording. So not looking good. A lot of your comic book artists and writers are out of work, and those who are editors at publishing houses will find themselves out of a job soon enough, you know, because this is not something anyone could have foretold that this was going to be the beginning of 2020. I don't think anybody would have believed it. So, it's been rough out there for a lot of folks. It's been really rough out there for a lot of folks. Um, and the crazy thing is, usually I don't go to a lot of cons. Black Nerd Swag was not built on traversing the United States or the world, going to cons like, many of the folks in the comic space do. Like, they live off of going to cons and events. Black Nerd Swag was never built with that intention to ever really do that, because that's just not what we do. That's not our business model. We don't have our own product per se. We um, look at products, material that people put out, and we decide, hey, we think we can sell this, to the folks that we deal with, our black nerds. We think our black nerds would like this. We can market it. We can package it. We can create that campaign for it for our black nerds because they want more of this. Like, we're really good at doing that. And so, especially since it was a curation that was going to be in a box. And so we're very good at doing that. So we never depended on, going to all these different cons and events, or even putting a live con, in person live event at a Jacob Javits Center or at a hotel. Because for us, it just don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. It's too much work. Most of these conventions and stuff, with the exception of a few, are not profitable. moving pieces. It's just too much ridiculousness. It's not where we shine. That's not a game we ever wanted to get into. So we particularly have no interest in getting tables. Even though we get offered tables, like there are conventions that other artists apparently kill to get in that we get invited to go. And we're like, nah, just it's not our thing. But the one thing we try to do when we do go to our few events, which is about maybe 1 or 2 a year, is we always try to give advice to any of the artists or smaller publishers that we come across whose stuff we might like. Because the better they do, the more likely it's easy for us to do business with them so that we can, get their content and we can, help market it to, our folks who like that stuff. Because it's harder, because one thing about the conception of, what we wanted to do is that, yeah, it was easy for us to get majors. Like we had all the majors on board with the things we were doing, pretty much, but, or at least some of the majors. But there were so many indies that we found their work and we liked it, and, work, our audience responded to it. And, we tried to go get it. We tried to, hey, this artist, this writer this is their work. Hey, try to have conversations with people, because we wanted to, hey, we'll market your work. We just want to, do it here, and this is how we're going to work it out. And a lot of people couldn't fulfill. They couldn't get the prints that we needed. They couldn't get the number of books that we needed. And so it put us in a position of, it put us in a position of like, okay, so that's not going to work. And we really wanted to, give more shine to some of the indies who do really good work. But it was hard because, like, we might need 300 copies of something and they can't produce 300 copies of something, so it was hard for us to, try to do business that way. So we looked at our own model of what we were going to do something different. Because we looked at what our strengths were and what we were really good at doing. And so we changed some of the processes in which we do stuff. And at this point, we rather work with a few indies to build up the infrastructure needed for us to do some of the things that we would like to do later on down the line. Because they're just too small. A lot of them don't have the businesses set up the way we needed to do the work. And so it is what it is how, it is what it is. But one of the things like we're really good at is digital, setting up those processes, those funnels. And when we would go to play cons, we would try to, there's a whole lot of artists we like, whether they write books or whether um, they do cosplay, or they do comic books, or art that we liked. And, we would try to, hey, give them some pointers on some things. Like, I think at the time, people would think I was crazy, but my whole thing was, you shouldn't be depending on cons to make your money. Like, this is a really bad idea. One, a lot of them were doing Kickstarters, and it's like, okay, so if you're at 25 cons a year and you're running a Kickstarter, when do you have time to actually do your writing with all the traveling you have to do? Plus, a lot of your artists have regular jobs. Some of you may not know that, but a lot of the artists have regular jobs. So it's a lot to handle, and in the way a lot of them were doing it, which is why some people would have delays in when their Kickstarters would actually get done. Like the ones who got funded, it would take them longer than they couldn't hit their marks because they had jobs and stuff to do. And so, we started really learning about the financials of a lot of the indies and how they were kind of operating. So our whole thing was, okay, I would just go around and like give advice like, hey, you should really, well, all this is going on, you should really, build up your audience and do X, Y, and Z with them. And you should also build out your online store if you don't have one yet. And, get into the habit of doing certain things when you are at cons, to help build up, your audience so that you can sell more at cons and start selling more outside of cons online. And I was giving that advice for the last few years, even before, Black Nerd Swag was invented. I was doing that because my background is I do this for a living. You know, I do this for a living. I'm not just someone with the title of being a marketer. I actually am one. I'm a marketer and business development consultant. I build out all the ad stuff that you see on Facebook and Instagram and Google and your emails and all that stuff. Like, that's what I do. That's what I've been doing for over 10 years now. Um, so I was giving them that, which is, a lot of money and experience that folks wasn't paying for. But, and especially would try to, help the ones that I was really interested in. Oh yeah, I like your work. I just need you, but you can't fulfill what we would ask you to do. And we would try, but folks didn't want to listen. Folks argued us down about cons. And, there were publishing houses that I don't know how the fuck they're making their money because all their revenue should have stopped by now because they lost everything. There's no HBO money coming in because all production and shit is shut down. Um, there's no comic book sales direct. Comic book shots are off, so they got to depend on Cosmology. I think that's how you pronounce it on Amazon, which doesn't pay much money, I think, at all. And whatever they sell at their stores, and they just don't have anything built. And I'm on their email list, so I know what they do and what they don't do. I volunteer. It's like, hey, let's work something out. I will take care of this, and we will build this out. Um, we'll build this out, and we'll make it work from here. And they never did it. It wasn't a priority. They were going to cons, they got their deals in HBO, and now everything's completely fucked. And only those right now who have an online presence that's active, funnels that are active, are actually going to weather this a lot better than others. There are people I've been trying to talk to for years, like months, and now they're suffering. Like they're suffering. I'm seeing them suffer. They've sometimes emailed me about it, and I'm like, I can't do nothing about what's happened in the past. All I can do is like there's for their situation, like there's no quick fix to it. Like if you are an artist, if you are a writer, particularly, let's look at our artist folks, because it'll be almost interchangeable. Like now's really the best period for you. Like if you're an artist, now's a great period for you to do a whole lot of stuff. And I know there's a lot of conflicting stuff going out there. People saying, well, no, you put out your work when you're ready. Well, bitch, they're broke. They have no money. Most of them don't have any savings. So at this stage of the game, you got to do some money now kind of situations because they don't have any money coming in. Like now's the best time if you're an artist because a lot more people are bored, so they're going to hang out on social media. So you have better chances of selling your work if you're consistent and persistent, and there's certain things you need to do. But now's the best time to do it because it's like state by state by state by state is going on a lockdown. you know, and unfortunately, there's going to be a lot of small businesses that are not going to make it, and it's not going to be a lot of cons that might not be able to do it this year. So with that being said, we all know the negatives of this. What's the positive side? The positive side of all of this is that if you are an indie creator, you have the power to help people who are stuck in their apartments or their homes who are bored to death. You have the power to entertain them, to encourage them with what you do. Every time, once again, people turn on the news and it is doom and gloom all over the place. Maybe a loved one is sick, maybe they're sick. There's people in the hospital who can't see their loved ones right now because of the quarantines and lockdowns. But if they have a cell phone, if they have internet access, they can go somewhere and see your work. You can encourage someone. You can take their mind away from their situation right now. Like, you have that power to do so. Okay? You have that power. Use it. This is what you're here for. This is what you're here for. You're here to put out work that you hope takes people somewhere else and they get engrossed in it. That's why I say now is your time. Now is your time to do something amazing for someone else. Um, FDR, President FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, had an arts commission during the Great Depression. And that arts commission, put people to work, because a whole bunch of, theater folks and such, they had lost their jobs, during their collapse. And so he put these people to work, and their jobs was to create art and entertain and all sorts of stuff, right? And, if you can go outside or look it up, you can see all the remnants of that today. Now is your time. Now, look, you're not being commissioned by the president of the United States to go draw comic books. It could happen, but that's not what's happening right now. But what you can do is do it on your own terms. Like, I've seen some very cool artists do that. Like, they're showing us their process that you wouldn't see unless you caught them at a con. Um, they're letting us watch them draw. They're interacting with us, and they're doing such a great job. They're putting out content. You got David F. Walker, who's putting out his content, teaching people how to draw comics and these video shorts he's doing, and such. You have other artists who are on taken to Facebook Live, and they're showing you how they make their art, and it's just cool because it takes you out of your moment, out of your reality right now. So I implore you, if you are an artist, if you're a writer, now David F. Walker's a writer, he's not really an artist. If that's what you do, then do it. Like, do it. Now is the time to have a bigger audience get to know you, what you do, as well as, help folks. Now, of course, money is an issue for a lot of you folks. I know the ones that I do know, most of you have jobs and such, and you were laid off of your job, unfortunately, for some of the artists that I've gotten to know, and I know some of them have been very sad and depressed and going stir crazy in their house. So my message is the same. I was like, look, take out your pen, take out your paper, write, draw, and just share it. Share it, because what you're feeling is what a whole bunch of other people are feeling. And by people getting to know you, they begin to like you, they begin to trust you. When you do put up that post about saying, hey, I got some stuff in my store for sale, I'll ship it out, they're more likely to buy from you. By doing lives, doing posts, letting people know what's going on, taking them out of their reality, they begin to depend on you. Because people are not just sitting there watching Netflix and Disney Plus all day. they are looking at other things. You could be that thing for them. Like they might have a day where it's all Netflix all day during this whole thing, but there's a time where it's your time. So I implore you, if you have the equipment, share it. If if you can do a live, if you can, take questions, interact with your folks on social media, that audience. Um, Talk to them, see how they're feeling, get ideas from art from them. Maybe you could do a series like David F. Walker's doing a series. You can do a series like that. How teaching someone how to draw a character or teaching someone how to write. If you don't want to do that, then you can release, maybe if you have a book, a chapter. And then by having these touch points, you can then more easily sell whatever it is that you do, which of course will help you, because a lot of you, you may not be able to go to a con until August, and it's a long time between here and August still. So even though things seem bleak, even though a lot of processes that you would need to have an engine running in terms of having your digital marketing, the sales right, so that you can kind of at least have some income coming. This is the beginnings of that, building up your audience and building them up during the best time, which is now, because a lot of people are just sad and they're depressed and they're angry and they're worried and they're so full of anxiety. But if you go out there and you make it your business to be like, I'm going to be a light in this dark time, in this dark room, people will really begin to appreciate it, appreciate you, want to follow you, and of course want to support you by buying your work. But don't let this time waste. Don't let this time waste while you have more people's attention than you might ever have it um, in your lifetime. Okay. So that's my, advice to you. Keep your head up. Don't stop producing, and understand that you have a higher purpose now. You are going to help a bunch of people if you choose to help people, manage or deal with their kids by looking at art or learning how to draw or learning how to tell a story, or dressing up in cosplay and showing them that they can be a superhero in their mind. Like, now the ball is in your court, artists. This is your time to shine. It's your time to shine a light in the times that it's very dark and devastating and people are really scared and afraid. So that's my advice to you, um, for right now, all the artists, all the writers out there in this space. Um, if you have any commentary, I'll leave comments open in this YouTube video so you can do what you wish there. But see you guys later. Until the next time, all love and peace and deuces.